think I'm not quite sure about that, but if you say so, I think.
Maybe I just made it up.
I believe you. I hope you didn't make that up.
I'll fact check afterwards. Oh well, never mind. That's what the edit button's for.
But,
all I've got to do is not get hit. There we go.
Yeah, that seems easy.
Yeah. Hey everyone, this episode of the 10 Before 10 show is brought to you by Think Tank Social. If you enjoy what we do here, please subscribe and hit that like button. And make sure you ring the bell to be notified of future episodes. Okay, now let's get into the show. Okay, Antonia, thanks so much for joining us on the 10 Before 10 show.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So great workout on 10 Before 10 this morning. I think it was probably one of the more sweaty ones. So I guess that means you were working as hard.
Yeah, it was definitely. I did get a sweat on. I didn't expect my heartbeat to raise that fast, but it was quite good, eh?
Yeah, it's amazing what you can get done in such a short period of time, I think, with that workout.
Yeah, it did pretty well with mixing all the different exercise. Patrick got us good, I think.
Yeah, he did for sure. Okay, so let's get stuck into it. So how did a young girl from Athens decide that of all the sports that you could have taken up, boxing seemed like the preferred option?
So boxing came to my life a little bit unexpected. It's not that it was a dream of mine. It's not that I was an athletic girl growing up. I did gymnastics for about 3 years. And I did quite well when I was young. But then I got into music. And that was the reason I moved to Australia to study music. And and make music and accomplish all that dreams that I had. And then I wanted to get inspired because I was going through a rough period where I had a writer's block and I was going through a dark time. And I decided to take up boxing out of the blue just because I was watching a movie and I saw this girl boxing in that movie and I thought it seemed quite cool. So then I thought, oh, maybe I should start boxing, then I'll get some inspiration. And that's how it all started.
I've got to say, I didn't know where you were going with that because you started off saying, well, I did gymnastics. I'm thinking, I don't remember a gymnast getting punched in the face. And then you said, oh, well, and then it was the music. And I'm like, I don't remember musicians beating each other up either. So where are we going with this? So I've, since seen some of the music stuff you're doing now with the R&B and soul, and we'll chat about that a bit later. But is that the music you were doing back in Greece, before you moved out? Was it that kind of music as well?
I started with the vocal lessons and we started doing live shows with my studio. And then I got into a band, which was a soul pop band. We would do like Michael Jackson covers and Anastasia covers.
Yeah.
So it was a soul band, soul R&B band. And later on, I got more of a smooth jazz influences. But yeah, that's the type of music I was doing, developing into my style and sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what year then did you get into boxing? And was this in Melbourne or was it a Greece thing?
This was in Melbourne. This was about it would have been about 5 years ago that I started boxing, and I've been competing for over 3 years. So I started training, and the first year I just had an exhibition fight 4 months after I started training. And then a year later after that, I had my first actual fight, amateur fight. So altogether, I think it's been about a bit less than 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, sure. So what was the first title that you won? And can you take us through what it was like to compete and then win that event?
Sure. So the first title that I won was the Victoria State Championships. And it was the first Victoria States that I did, and it was awesome that I got to win it as well. So it's amazing, because when you train, back then I did believe, and I still believe in myself, but I really had that confidence in myself because of the training I was putting in, because I thought I had to catch up because every other boxer was training since childhood or whatever. And I thought, you have to train more, so you have to train double the hours. So I put a lot of training in, and then seeing that coming true and getting the win felt amazing. And when I got the Victoria State Championships, it just felt surreal, and I can't even explain it. I felt amazing. I felt that it's all possible, that no matter what I dream of, that I can achieve it. So,
Yeah, right.
So it was definitely an amazing feeling. And then you set a goal, then you achieve it. Then I started setting bigger goals, and achieving those. So yeah, it felt amazing.
I mean, there's a lot of boxers obviously get into it at a very young age, but I'm just thinking of stuff that I mean, don't take this as gospel, it might not be true, but I'm pretty sure, I think Bernard Hopkins, Anthony Joshua, and definitely Wilder, they all, from what I remember, they all started late as well. So
Right.
I think Wilder was like 19 or something.
Yeah, I think I'm not quite sure about that, but if you say so, I think
maybe I just made it up.
I believe you. I hope you didn't make that up.
I'll fact check afterwards. Oh well, never mind. That's what the edit button's for.
No.
All right.
Yeah, I've seen some boxers starting later. I know another female boxer, Heather Hardy. She's a pro now. She started late. I think she started when she was 30.
Mm-hmm.
And,
oh wow, that is late.
Yeah, there's actually some fellow athletes from my team that have started later, and they've done very well. So they've been an inspiration to me, and I even had people telling me that it's good that you started early, because they would start later than what I would.
All right.
I thought, okay, there's never really a time for it. I mean, it's
Sure.
whenever it comes into your life, as long as you keep going with it, then then you can get.
Cool, you get stuck into it. Okay, so then you set your sights on the Australian title, but a few months before you were due to fight, unfortunately, like, tragedy struck your family with the sudden death of your father. So can you tell us about the thought process of trying to decide whether to take a few months off at this point or to box on, in the face of adversity?
Yeah, so that was unexpected. That only happened over a year ago. I was initially gonna go there for a training camp. So I was gonna go to Greece.
Go where? Sorry.
To Greece.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because my family's they're all in Greece, and I've done a few training camps over there before big tournaments. I also have a team in Greece that help me and support me throughout my journey. So I decided for that fight, because it was going to be a big challenge for me. It was before the World Championships, that I had to get away from work and from everything, and just I thought I would get inspired to be with family and everything, and just focus on training. So so I was in Thailand for my friend's wedding, because that was going to be a week before my training camp would start. And then once I found out, I flew straight to Greece, and I didn't really have much. I didn't put thought into it. As soon as that happened, I spent maybe probably 2-3 days with my family, and we stayed together. And then I didn't give it a second thought. I thought I'm just gonna go to the gym and keep doing what I came here to do, and life goes on. And that was what our promise to each other, to my family, that we're gonna keep going, and we're gonna let these make us stronger, not weaker. And there's no time for anything less than that, because my dad is an amazing man and has taught us to keep inspired and happy and no matter what. So we wanted to do that and show him that.
And you won.
Yeah.
That must have been an unbelievable feeling, considering everything that happened in the months leading up to it.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing if you think that a week before, probably 5 days before the tournament, I thought of giving up, because throughout all the camp I was very down, and I wasn't really enjoying training. I was just doing it for, I think, to keep going, but I wasn't really loving it, if that makes sense. I was just there and I wasn't there at the same time. So I had a chat to my brother a week before, a couple of days before, a week before the big tournament, and I said to him that I was feeling not good, and because I do believe that if you feel good, you fight great. I told him I feel terrible, so I don't think I'm gonna perform right, because I don't want to. I said to him, I don't feel like doing it. I don't care about it. I don't want to do it. And he actually was the one who encouraged me to do it. He said, don't give up now. You've trained already. You've done the training camp. It's only going to be 1 more week and then you'll be done. You have nothing to lose. And when he told me that, like, he said, what do you got to lose? You've already trained. Just go there and do it. Who cares what happens? Then I gave it a second thought and I thought, okay, I'll do it. And yeah, and I went there with the mindset of I'm just here to get it done and just to be here, and it all turned out pretty good in the end.
So that wasn't a pivotal moment? I was just thinking, like back to the Rocky movies, where the wife tells him, just do it. She changes her mindset and she says, just do it. So it wasn't like that. So he told you that, and in the next 5 days you were just in a whole new. Was it like that? Like you just completely changed your mindset and you were like, I'm going to get this done.
Yeah, it was like that. Because I really felt like I could not do it. I felt if I was feeling internally like that, then how could I perform? I just couldn't. It couldn't match. I thought it's not gonna happen. I'm just gonna go there and stand there.
But
that was not the case. I actually performed. It was one of my best performances. I had 2 fights and they both went pretty good. It all turned out fine. But definitely appreciate my brother for encouraging me to do it. And he's the one from the start who actually encouraged me and the rest of my family to say that the easy thing is to keep down, and the easy thing is to let go of everything. The easiest thing is to get sad. But the hard thing is to keep going, and we're just gonna do that. So
because your big sister's a massive fan as well, isn't she?
Yeah, both of them. I have 3 sisters, 2 older sisters, 1 younger sister and 1 brother, and they all support me and love what I do, and I love what they do and support what they do. So we're very close together.
Fantastic. Now, you touched on it before, but I wanted to ask you about your experience at the Women's World Boxing Championships, which was in Russia.
Right.
You didn't just go there. There was a 2-week training camp before that in Berlin. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, sure. So there was a couple of weeks of it. I think it was 4-week training camp, maybe 3-week training camp in Berlin in Germany. And then we went to Russia 5 days prior to the tournament. I found flying to Germany for that training camp was an amazing thing, to be there with a team and get to spar with world-class athletes and get that sparring before Worlds. It prepared me for what I was going to experience, because I had never really competed against any European countries. So it was a great experience, and definitely eased up my nerves and made me more relaxed, because we had enough time to adjust there. with the team, with the other teams, get to know all the coaches from the other teams. So the energy was very good, because it takes a while to adjust into that. You're in a different country, you're about to fight at the World Championships. It was my first World Championships as well. So yeah, it was definitely a blessing that the Australian team put that together, that training camp before the actual tournament, the World Championships, and got us ready for it. So yeah, when I got into the ring, I felt like it was nothing that I hadn't done, because we did actually very good quality sparring before. So yeah.
With your opponents?
Yeah, some of them was in my weight division. I didn't face them, but they did quite well. One of the girls, the US girls, won a bronze medal, and I sparred her. So it was amazing to know that I got that quality sparring before.
You know what they say the worst thing about Berlin is?
What did they say?
All the people from Melbourne there. The place has just got so many Melbourne people, it's not funny. They all go over there for the coffee and the techno, I believe.
It was quite hard to find good coffee though.
All right, maybe it's just the techno they go for. Maybe I got the coffee part wrong. Now, I've done quite a few of these interviews this year, and I think you might be the first athlete that I've spoken to that has actually had their goals brought forward instead of pushed back because of COVID-19. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, if you know what I'm talking about? Or do you want me to give you a bit more?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, so basically you were going to go for the 2024 Olympics, I believe. But with everything that's happened, you've had a change of heart, and now you're actually going to go for the Olympics next year. Is that right?
Well, that's right. I'm going to give it another shot. It's the procedure is going to be a little bit different from the first time, as I'm aware of, but there's definitely a chance to do it. And I've been training and I've been staying focused to get better and just focusing on my progression. And I know everything else is going to come together no matter what. So as long as I focus on getting better and competing and again and performing better, I know and I trust that it will all come together. So I definitely look forward to getting back into the ring and getting that second chance, and can't wait for that to happen.
Because that's what, pre-selection in December, is that right?
Yes. We don't really know yet with everything that's been happening. Yeah. They did tell us that it would happen in November. But with everything that's been happening, we're not quite sure yet. But the information that I have is that the Australian Championships, which would be the pre-selection for Worlds, which would be the pre-selection Olympics at the Worlds, so that it would be end of November. But with all the COVID that's been happening, I'm not sure. But we're definitely staying ready. We're progressing, and we'll be ready whenever that comes. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Can I ask what's been your toughest fight so far, and what was it about that fight that made it so hard for you?
Right. Toughest fight. I think one of my toughest fights was probably my early fights. So when I first started, I remember this fight because back then it was more that I just wanted to throw as many punches as I could. It was not so much about technique.
Yeah.
So I was making sure that I was fit as I possibly could to keep throwing punches for all 3 rounds. And I remember that being one of my toughest fights. It wasn't for a state or anything, or it must have been for like a pre-state thing. But I just remember myself throwing punches nonstop for the first round, and then the second round, and then the third round. So it was like just throwing punches nonstop me and my opponent, she was just kept throwing and I kept throwing punches. So I remember that being one of my hardest fights because I literally gave it all of that I had. And it's when you don't really know much of technique and you don't really have that type of plan, but your plan is to just keep throwing punches no matter what, you literally just keep moving forward and throwing and throwing and throwing punches. So I remember that being one of my most intense fights. And I remember how I was breathing heavily after every round. I was like full catching my breath, thinking I'm gonna pass out. But then I would go back and throw as many punches. So yeah, I would say my hardest fights was probably my first fights when I started getting the experience and because you feel different, you're more stressed.
Yeah, I've got a friend that yeah, a good friend of mine. He did one fight, you know, and yeah, he just said the feeling, the stress of the day. He spent the day at work, and he just said all day, like he couldn't eat. He was just so sick with stress, you know. Like he won the fight, or it was 3 rounds, just a, you know, it's an amateur thing, obviously, and but yeah, like he trained for 3 months and didn't drink any booze, you know, like just he treated it really seriously. But yeah, he just said he was so sapped of energy by the time he got into the ring.
Yeah.
Stress.
Yeah, it's amazing what it can do to you.
Yeah, definitely.
But definitely the first couple of fights, and also the first fight, I remember like my first fight, which was an exhibition fight. And back then I was wearing contact lenses and they came out.
Oh
and
no.
Yeah, and then I couldn't see nothing.
That's funny. Gold.
I had a panic attack in between the rounds. My coach was looking at me and I was trying to tell him to put my contact lenses back in. It was so a mess. It was a big, massive mess.
Yeah. Have you got bad eyesight normally? Like, because if my contact lenses came out, if I was wearing them, yeah, that would have been it. End of story. I would have probably hit the ref.
Trust me. It was like that. I had very bad sight. I had like -6, which meant that I couldn't see your face if you were standing here.
Yeah, I think I'm -5.25, so I'm right there with you. I think, yeah.
You would understand then.
Yeah.
So it was like that. I freaked out. The first fight was probably the worst fight I've ever had.
Yeah. That's gold.
Experience, but yeah, it was quite fun after I got laser done, so I don't have that problem anymore.
Yeah. I've had the same. It's the same. Yeah. So what do you think is the hardest regular part about being a boxer? You know, is it the training? Is it trying to make weight for every fight? Is it getting hit in the face all the time? Like, what's the toughest part on a day-to-day basis?
I think making weight.
Yeah. Right.
I think every fight I will say this. I think that's the most challenging part.
Especially being Greek. You do love your food.
I love bread.
Yeah.
And it's not that we can't eat it, but
yeah,
you just have to keep that balance and be aware of maintaining a good weight that's close to your weight, so you don't have to cut 10 kilos last minute.
Because you're what, 54? Is that your division?
Yeah, I compete at 54 and 51. So the pre-selection events are at 51 normally. And yeah, the normal weight that I do is 54. But I walk around 57, depends on, what's happening.
Yeah, sure. You've got a new COVID weight. 62, you know.
3 divisions up.
Yeah, exactly. I have to start calling you Manny Pacquiao. So how do you get motivated in the hours and the minutes leading up to a fight? Is it a music thing for you? Is it is it conversations with friends? What do you get up to?
Yeah, it's I think it's the bigger picture that I have in my mind of what I want to achieve in the future, and how I want to feel in a fight. So I visualize myself how I want to feel and what I want to do in the fight, and that motivates me, knowing that if I train like this, you're gonna do this, you're gonna just do that, and I just picture it happening, and that's what motivates me. And then I take one day at a time. So there's days where I forget about it, because there's days where you forget your affirmations and you forget things and you have to restart again. But these days it's been an everyday thing that I try to visualize from the beginning of the day what I want to do and how I want to feel for the rest of the day. So not just on the fight day, but how I want to feel for the rest of my day to day.
Yeah.
So I think of my running, I think of my boxing, what I want to do. And that's what motivates me, just to get better, a little bit better every day.
Yeah. Cool. And what about boxing idols? Have you got any boxing idols, and why
Yeah.
are they up there for you?
So my number one, which actually, because I'll say number one because that it's the reason that I got so excited about boxing, is Floyd Mayweather. Because when I was coming back from my first day of boxing training, I googled boxing. I just didn't know what to Google because I didn't know any boxing fighters. So I googled boxing, and Floyd Mayweather popped up, and I watched. It was a video about his defense, and
Legendary.
that excited me so much and made me wanna be that good. And I thought to myself, what do I have to do to get that good? He made it look so easy. But
all I've got to do is not get hit. There we go.
yeah, that seems easy.
Yeah.
So I would say Floyd Mayweather, for his for his ability, his boxing IQ. Muhammad Ali for his heart and all that shows into the ring, because of the person he's outside of the ring. I think that showed in the ring as well. I love that about him. And Vasyl Lomachenko, Mike Tyson, these are a few. But Vasyl Lomachenko is definitely one of my favorites these days as well.
Because did I read somewhere that you do dancing, or was it just music? Do you do
dancing?
I do.
I've done dancing before, yeah.
Because that's what Lomachenko is known for. I think he spent a whole bunch of years. His dad, I think maybe even for a couple of years, his dad just said no boxing or hardly any boxing. You're going to do Ukrainian folk dancing.
Yeah.
And they reckon that's one of the reasons his footwork's so unbelievable.
Yeah, because it has to do with rhythm and coordination and everything. I was lucky that we did actually traditional Greek dances when I was growing up. So I don't know if that helped. I was definitely having that coordination.
Yeah, definitely.
I felt that I was all right with my coordination and picking up drills. So it might have helped. But definitely, I think being loose when you dance and having that rhythm, it's definitely very helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because you're not as rigid, I guess.
Well, hopefully, you never know. They might start introducing plate smashing into boxing, and you'll go straight to number one.
Yeah, that's a good way of entering or leaving the ring.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. People won't forget you. Now, we're thankfully in the process of emerging. Well, actually, we're not really in the process of emerging from the lockdown if you're in Melbourne, which is where you are. How have you found this whole lockdown period in terms of your fitness and your ability to keep training when you can't spar?
Yeah, it's been challenging. It's been very challenging, that's for sure, because it's nothing like we've ever experienced before. So when it started, I didn't want to believe it. I was just thinking, I'll be all right. It'll be fine in a week. Then I saw that it wasn't going away. And then I started realizing that this is going to stay for a while. And at the start, it was very frustrating, training virtually, which is a blessing, being able to keep the team connected.
How are you doing that?
So we do virtual classes. My coach is hosting the Zoom classes,
Mm-hmm.
and he shows us drills, and we've been able to work and progress through these times and focus on specific techniques and do it over Zoom, follow his instructions. Then my strength and conditioning coach has sent me a program, so I've been following his program for all these months. And I had a help from Underdog Nutrition, which has been helping me with my nutrition, because I knew for a fact that that was going to be very challenging for me, not having any fights coming up. I
It's
thought,
like, number one, stop eating all that bread.
oh Jesus, I'm gonna get so fat.
Yeah.
So it was good. I had help from Alani, which actually was amazing, because I learned how to control my weight and what to eat. So it was actually a blessing in disguise for me, because you don't really get to slow things down like that normally. So you get to see your, I guess, your weak spots or whatever you can't see when you're on the go all the time. When you slow things down, you get to see your weaknesses more. You get to spend more time with yourself and see the things you can improve on. So I actually appreciate that we had that time, and I made the most of it, and I'm trying to keep in the same mindset. So,
Cool. So
so
there's a
it's
few
all right.
positives to take from it.
Yeah, definitely. Because training never stops. I mean, I could always go for runs and do my strength. It was challenging not having weights equipment. I live in an apartment and I don't have much equipment over here. Um, but yeah, we used body weight exercises and fitness and conditioning that you don't have to use equipment. So I found myself staying fit and good to go.
Cool. Now, I think you've still got many good years left in you. Do you have any, but have you been thinking much about life after competition? Thinking maybe more time for your music, or
Yeah,
perhaps boxing coaching, or both, or
definitely. So I have thought about it. I haven't put a time frame, as in saying, oh, I'm gonna give up when I'm 40 or when I'm 50. I haven't put up that frame. Um, but I definitely know that I'll be doing music, a lot of music once I'm done. I haven't thought of coaching. I'm not sure about that yet, but I definitely enjoy competing at the moment and making music. So as I go, I'll be balancing those two, because I definitely love to do both no matter what. But yeah,
yeah,
once I'm done with my boxing, music will always be there, that's for sure.
cool. It's not going away.
No, no.
Okay, well, we're pretty much at the end of our little chat today. I just wanted to ask, or finish up by asking, if you were chatting to some young boxers that were just getting started, like what would be your advice to them?
My advice to them would be to have fun with it. So don't train as if you want to get better. Train as if you're already the best, because that brings that feeling that you are, and it makes you believe in yourself, and it makes the day count, because you have fun with it. When you try to get better, which is good, you have to want to get better, but if you believe you're already there, you get that feeling, so you have nowhere to go. I mean, you're already where you want to be. So don't forget to have fun with what you choose to do, no matter what that is, whether it's boxing, whether it's another sport, whether it's that you want to be a doctor. Just love what you do today. Don't wait for something to feel a certain way.
Tip top advice right there. That's fantastic, Antonia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, you've been a great guest on the 10 before 10 show, and yeah, I wish you all the best, and especially with that pre-selection for the Worlds.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that, and it was awesome to have a chat today, and the workout this morning as well.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still feeling it. Cool.
You too.
Okay, all the best. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.